Hello internet! So this is my first time doing a video like this. This is straight up like a vlog. And as you know, I mostly do the covers. I do a little bit of upbeat eats. I do a little bit of punk rock music theory, but mostly covers. But I feel like this video is very, very necessary because people really talk on the internet about ska music, but the conversation always ends up on the same 5 or so bands. Like I'll go on the ska Reddit, or I'll go on Facebook groups, or I'll go on Twitter, and people always ask for ska bands, and they always list Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake, Big D and the Kid Stable, Streetlight Manifesto, Goldfinger, the same bands, and it's really not helping the new bands. And I feel like we can't talk about a new wave of ska and what's to come if we just keep talking about the same bands that already have this platform. And I kind of have a platform, so right now I'm using my platform to talk about 10 phenomenal bands that are right now active, putting out music and deserve your attention. Now there's definitely way more than 10 bands that are active and deserve your attention, but I chose these 10 bands because I think they really show a great diversity in the genre, as well as the fact that they are incredible bands who put out incredible music, and they are extremely hardworking. And if any newer ska band that's active today had the chance to blow up, I think the bands on this list definitely have most potential to do so. But before we get started, in the description of this video, there are a link to things like my Patreon and web store. So if you really like this channel and if you really want to see me do more vlog stuff, let me know. I can talk about lots of stuff. I love talking. And the Patreon lets me do things like pay rent, fix my gear, and keep this channel operating at the way it does. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, you know, all the stuff you hear every single YouTuber say. It really just helps us out and takes 2 seconds. So definitely do that, not only for me, but for every YouTuber that you follow that you're not subscribed to for some reason. And without further ado, let's get started talking about 10 ska bands that are phenomenal that deserve your attention right now in 2020. If you've never heard the name Kill Lincoln, then I think that further proves my point that people aren't talking about these incredible bands they should be talking about, because Kill Lincoln is incredible. They formed out of Washington, D.C. a little over 10 years ago, and they have put out 2 full lengths as well as several EPs and B-sides. And if I had to choose one word to describe this band, it would be energy. For those of you who have been fortunate enough to catch a Kill Lincoln show, you know exactly what I mean. The energy you hear in their recordings and the energy you see in their videos don't even match the energy that they have live. And that's saying a lot because there's already so much raw energy in everything that they've put out. But every time that band plays, they completely shred, and that's because the energy is literally embedded into the type of music that they play. They combine really fast skate punk, pop punk, and hardcore elements into their music, as well as some of the catchiest vocal melodies I have ever heard. And not gonna lie, the lyrics are also really good. Like, I really dig their lyrics. As the Bad Time Records website states, Kill Lincoln is a breath of fresh air in a sea of the current Hawaiian shirt-clad ska punk clones. Yeah, I would agree with that. Speaking of Bad Time Records, Mike, their frontman, guitar player, and singer, started Bad Time Records. And this is a lot of the reason why I say Kill Lincoln is the most important band in ska right now. Because back in the 80s and 90s, there were so many record labels dedicated to ska bands, and those record labels either ceased to exist, have changed their dedication to other genres, or they dedicate to the same ska bands from back then, but none of them are catering to new ska bands. And not only is Bad Time Records creating a platform for these new bands, but it's creating a scene and a community and a sense of family between all of the new ska bands and artists that are killing it right now. So if you're not following Kill Lincoln and you're not following Bad Time Records, you definitely need to follow them, and you're definitely going to hear Bad Time Records plenty of times throughout the rest of this video. My 2 songs of recommendation for Kill Lincoln definitely go to Second Cities and Good Riddance to Good Advice.
Good riddance to all your good advice, but I'm not asking for someone to hold my hand. Growing up, that's just not part of the plan.
2 on this list, and that is yet another band off of Bad Time Records, Catbite.
Coursing through my veins, I can feel your disease. Just one small scratch is all that I need. You got me feeling high, got me feeling alright. Just give me sidestepping seizures tonight.
Now first off, I just need to address that Catbite always looks good. Like straight up, like just look at a picture of them. They are always dressing, they always look so good. Oh my goodness, how do they do that? Like it's kind of not fair that they're holding the capital of looking good in ska. But this band isn't all looks. No, it's the complete package. Everyone is incredible at their instruments and they have such a high level of musicianship. Where most ska bands that people are familiar with really go with this like punk rock sound, Catbite doesn't do that. They mix this like rock and roll, like 50s leather jacket, rockabilly aesthetic with the two-tone and traditional ska sound. And the outcome is something that I have not seen in ska yet. It's very energetic and definitely makes me want to dance, but they also do have those songs that are like the slower tracks, the more down tempo, but they are not boring. In fact, they're far from it. It's really hard to be a band that writes music that's so down tempo but still so captivating. Because they don't base their music off of being fast and being hyped, they base it off of being good music. Which every band on this list does that, but I think it speaks more volumes when a band like Catbite does it with such finesse that they do.
How did I end up here? All my feelings dissolve straight into thin air. All the magic is gone. Is it bad that I don't think of you when I'm out with my friends?
And it's incredible how good this band is because I don't even think they're 2 years old yet. They very recently formed out of Philadelphia and they dropped one of the best ska records of the last decade. And if I was at like a music award ceremony and I saw an award for best debut ska record that a band has ever put out, I think Catbite definitely should be at least nominated for that award. And in my opinion, they should get it. 2 songs of recommendation for this band, the first being Scratch Me Up for the very upbeat, fast pace, and it's just straight up a bop. And the other is Can't Give You Love, because that song is just so beautiful and calming, and I think it really shows off the musicianship that this band has to offer. Now let's move on to band number 3 on this list. Number 3 on this list is Los Cagaleros from Texas. Specifically from the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, which is like all the way south near the border of Mexico. This band, like, let me tell you something about this band. I was on Facebook and this video started getting shared around and I just saw people skateboarding and like a band with a million horns and everything, and I was like, whoa, this already looks really, really cool. Let me check this out. So I pressed play and this band blew my mind. Like, when I saw that, I was wondering, why is no one talking about this? Because I saw it being shared into ska groups, but it was getting like maybe 10 likes, and it's straight up one of the coolest things I've seen in such a long time. I asked their bari sax player Denny who plays bari sax in Ska 2 Network, and they 100% killed it. And while playing those shows, I learned a lot about that band and their background and everything like that, so let's talk about it. Now, the coolest thing about this band, that they're all very inspiring and empowered badasses. And what do I mean by that? I mean that they're out there doing lots of great work, Especially living so close to the border of Mexico, they're very impacted by the current political state of this country. The heavy legislation being passed on the border especially is really affecting their lives. And in contrary to popular belief, you can't just separate art from the artist. And in this case, their art is very reflective of this, and how they choose to react to this is incredible. So here's a list of some things that they've done that has helped raise both funds and awareness for things that they believe in. Now, excuse me if I butcher any of this pronunciation, I am so sorry, I am trying my best. Participated in a show to raise advocacy tour funds for the families of the 43 missing students from Ayotzinapa. Benefit show for South Texas Human Rights Center Immigration Works and Water Station Project to prevent dehydration and death of immigrants traveling through borderlands. Skank for Choice, a local ska punk benefit show co-founded by Los Gogaleros to raise money for abortion funds, which can help folks pay for abortions locally. Benefit shows for local animal shelters and for local sea turtle. Benefit shows for local sea turtle. Benefit shows for local animal shelters and for local sea turtle conservation. Wow. So that's just some of the stuff that they've done. They really are dedicated and passionate people who just want to help, make basic human rights and this world a better place. And I think that is really awesome. And it is really cool seeing this band create art and use their art to do so many good things. And their experiences are definitely reflected in this art, like with one of their songs, Two Tales of the Working Class, which by the way is my first of the 2 recommended songs, the other one being Infinitely.
Infinitely. Tonight. Infinitely. I'm so confused by my obsession with you, and I no longer know what's true.
Band number 4 on this list technically breaks the rule because I'm talking about new ska bands, and this band is technically old, but this band has gone through a lot of lineup changes, and honestly the last 3 releases they've done on this band are honestly kind of like a whole new band. And also the person who created this band is a legend himself, Mike Park. We are talking about the Bruce Lee Band. Now, if you don't know who Mike Park is, he started the record label Asian Man Records, which is one of the most important record labels in punk rock to ever happen. Starting as a purely ska punk label in the 90s, they definitely branched out away from the ska punk sound and have signed lots of bands like Lemuria, Joyce Manor, Alkaline Trio, The Atom Age, bombed the music industry. But trailing back into ska, they also had a bunch of legendary ska punk bands under their name, one of them being the Bruce Lee Band, and others being some of Mike Park's projects like Skank and Pickle, and other legendary ska punk bands from the 90s like Bucko 9, Big D and the Kids Table, Pot Shot, Slapstick, I believe Slow Gherkin, correct me if I'm wrong, leave me in the comments below from, I think they're an Asian Man band, actually, I don't know about that specific one. But yeah, Asian Man Records is very important and very good. And the reason why I'm talking about the Bruce Lee Band, because in my honest opinion, the last 2 releases they did are the 2 best third wave ska releases to ever happen.
What are we gonna say? What are we gonna say?
Now, Mike Park will normally write these songs and collaborate with different bands to create the full record, but for the last 3 releases, it's pretty much been Jeff Rosenstock and friends. And if I had to make a Mount Rushmore of third wave ska and put 4 figures on there, it would probably be Kevin Higuchi, Dan Potthast, Mike Park, and Jeff Rosenstock, who coincidentally are all in the most recent incarnation of the Bruce Lee Band. And Mike Park is honestly just an incredible person, very down to earth, very humble, and has done really cool stuff in the past. Also, a lot of the Bruce Lee Band songs, in my opinion, really reflect a lot of what ska is about. Songs like the title track of the record, Everything Will Be Alright, My Friend, are a lot about being happy and kind of just keeping a good disposition despite the world crumbling around you. Where most music will be very sad or angry about it and wallow in the despair. But Mike Park's outtake on it is we have to do better as people and we have to take care of ourselves, but we also need to make sure part of taking care of ourselves is, being happy and making sure that we're achieving said happiness and still working to make this world a better place. And I think that's such a good representation of ska music in general, regardless where you are, what wave. Plus, every single song off of all of those releases are just so good. It's really hard to me to pick 2 songs as the recommended 2. But for me, those 2 songs are going to be If I Could Only Listen to My Heart and Generations. Now let's move on to band number 5 off of this list. Legendary ska band Link 80 broke up quite a few years ago, although Adam Davis, their former guitarist, has started writing his own music and playing shows under the project name Omnigon. Omnigon as a band is a load of fun, but they are not afraid to get heavy. There are definitely moments in the music when I'm listening and I can tell that there's a lot of Link 80 influence, but they definitely have their own identifiable sound. And last year in 2019, they released their debut LP called No Faith on Bad Time Records. Starting to notice that Bad Time Records is putting out all of these incredible records. Yeah, definitely go follow them on everything so you're up to date on all of the new ska punk releases. But anyway, I know that No Faith is going to be one of those records that people start checking out more and more as Bad Time starts growing and the band Omnigon starts growing. And people are going to start realizing that they have completely been sleeping on such an incredible band. And also, Adam Davis is a very big, longtime supporter of Ska 2 Network. He was one of the first people to ever commission me to write music. And he helped me out a lot in a time in which I didn't know if I could keep doing this, and I had no idea how I was even going to be able to afford rent. So if you love what I do, you can help me say thank you to Adam Davis, one of the people who really helped me get to where I am as a musician, and that's by going and listening to Omnigon. They are streaming everywhere, and if you can, maybe pick up a CD or a vinyl off of the Bad Time Records web store. Also, I promise this video is not sponsored by Bad Time Records. I literally just love everything that they're doing and what Mike is doing and all of those bands. They are not paying me money to say this. They are not telling me to say this. In fact, this is all my idea. I promise.
Of perspective, a moment of confusion. There's no need for us to fight. We can find our own solution. Just a difference of perspective, a moment of confusion. There's no need for us to fight. We can find our own solution. One more time for the folks in the back. Civil rights.
I can't remember if I said the 2 recommended songs, so on Wednesdays I am going to make it as my first recommended song, and my second recommended song is going to be Rather Be Alone.
Alone again in my apartment. Yeah, this tradition's killing me.
Band number 6 on this list, the ska-core legends from New Jersey, the best of the worst. So when I was in high school, I played in a ska band, and I used to book a lot of ska shows, including house shows. And my parents let me book one single show at my house, and I had a full lineup, and then I got a message from someone saying 2 bands need a place to play. One of those bands being the best of the worst, so I was like, yeah, sure, y'all can play in my backyard. And that's how I met what turned out to be one of my favorite bands of all time in the realm of ska. Now, the best of the worst mixes really, really heavy hardcore and metal music with ska music, and it is just phenomenal. And they have a lot of elements of like math rock with straight up mathy emo songs and odd key signatures. And it makes sense considering a lot of them studied music, and their drummer also plays drums in this math rock band called Invalids. And if you know Invalids, then you already understand how ridiculously good of a drummer he is.
It looks like I'm fucked up again, staring at the ceiling fan. And I felt this way a million times before, talking to myself again. Solitude's my only friend, 'cause I've simply passed the point of no return.
And the best of the worst was one of those bands that I really resonated with, especially when I was in high school and all the way up until now, is because a lot of ska bands make music about stuff I really don't care about, but they were making music about things that I did care about. Like their song Paperweight, which is about people who dedicate all of their life to just going to college and getting a 9-to-5 job and working until they die. Like, that's something I've never understood as a person, and obviously now I'm a musician slash content creator, so I definitely did not go down that route, but I know a lot of people who did, and I just don't get it. And hearing a band make music about something like that really resonated with me, and that's why I just like love this band and love what they do. Overall, 10 out of 10 band, more people need to talk about them, and that's why they've rightfully earned a spot on this list.
I do things that's on by you. I'm taking over no control. No resistance, we left alone. And they all I know they unknown. All I do things that's on by you.
This band, much like the Bruce Lee band, honestly breaks the rule that I'm putting for myself as far as talking about only new bands, but this band is just straight up the best ska band to ever exist. Like literally, I will argue that to the grave. The only other acceptable competitor is the Skatalites, because like, you know, obviously the Skatalites, they're the first ska band ever. But Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra, best ska band to ever exist. Now I have so much I want to say about this band, but I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible. Starting off with, they're just the best musicians in ska. That's just a fact. And every time they put out a release, it's so good. Like, I can't even stress how good it is. And I think the best thing about the Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra is that they managed to cultivate so many incredible sounds while never losing the integral sound of ska. And if you start listening to their music a lot, you start to notice that they have so many different influences, from jazz to Latin music to J-pop to classical. Off their last record, they had a song that featured an entire wind ensemble. And while making music like that features an entire wind ensemble, they're also doing music that features incredible jazz musicians. Both of these styles sound completely different from each other, they can still produce incredible third wave ska music.
An innocent boy's gonna find a dream. Salmon's going off the rails. Tiny parts are going to the end. Treating life as a book on fire.
And while including incredible third wave ska music, they can keep it very true to the integral traditional ska sound. I can't think of a single band that nails so many different styles and still has this fundamental sound that not only sounds like ska, but sounds exactly like the Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra. And no band will ever sound like them, and no band has ever sounded like them. And for a band that's been so relevant, that so many people talk about for so long because they formed in the 80s, I just don't know why they're not considered a ska legend, because they really don't have a presence in America at all. Which is why band number 7 on this list I am giving to the best ska band to ever exist. Once again, fight me on that. I will take that argument to the grave. Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra. For Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra, I have 3 songs of recommendation because they have such an incredibly massive catalog of music. The first song definitely being Walkin', off of their record Walkin'. The second song is off of that same record and is called Suikenkutsu. And the third song recommendation is Pride of Lions, and I honestly can't remember what record that one is off of. Now let's move on to band number 8. Band number 8 on this list is Gray Matter out of Lansing, Michigan. Birthed from the Michigan emo scene, I believe this band first started as like a scrams or like a screamo band, but then they started getting real funky and delved into the realm of ska-core. So if you're fans of bands like the Flaming Tsunamis, The Best of the Worst, or Folly, then Gray Matter is probably gonna be right up your alley. And if you have never heard of those bands or you're not fans of them, you still might like Gray Matter because they're honestly just an incredible band. Now, they definitely put a lot of emphasis on the core part of ska core, but it honestly creates such a really cool dynamic and depth of contrast in the genre of ska. Now, my favorite part of this band is that their music is very straightforwardly about being a better person. And a thing that really bores me about a lot of ska music that is already out there and existing is ska bands will make songs about things like drinking beer, which is like kind of cool and all if you're okay with casual alcoholism, but I'm like not really into that. I don't drink and I don't like smoke or do drugs or anything like that, so hearing a lot of ska music about that type of stuff to me is just really boring. And I can only listen to a song about drinking beer so many times before it just starts getting annoying hearing every ska band make a song about it. But hearing a band make a song with a message that's saying, hey, you are beautiful as a person and you are valid. Now that's that shit I like. And to me, that stuff is all about being a better person, both for yourself and creating a community to make everybody a better person and making what we do just so much more enjoyable.
Everybody in this place needs to know that you deserve to feel safe and comfortable. Factors outside make it hard to find the piece of you that's worth your time. Everybody in this place needs to know that you deserve to feel safe and comfortable. Factors outside make it hard to find the piece of you that's worth your time.
And it's just really refreshing seeing people that I can relate to and resonate with in this way. Because I sure as hell don't resonate and relate to songs about a guy breaking up with a girl and the guy's sad about it or mad at the girl. Like, that stuff, honestly, I just think that stuff is whack. So any band that's making music that's about, you know, like actual real stuff, I'm definitely going to push their content. Especially when so much of it is so positive, like teaching you to love yourself. Like, just dang, love yourself. And that's the first of 2 recommendations I have for this band. The second one being Stop, Hate, Ska, Break.
Another day, another move. まだ誰かの線に怯える。見たくないこともない。ただ髪からじゃないよ。Fucking face and shake it.
Now I have to go back and check when Ska Band actually formed as a band because I have this thing about not wanting to talk about bands that formed in 2002 or before because people talk about those bands too much and never give credit enough to new bands. And even though the year they formed is 2003, I was a little hesitant still to put them on this list, but I've decided to put them on this list because 1, they didn't even start getting active until the latter part of the 2000s decade, and 2, they've been putting out incredible music over the last 10 years, and a lot of it has just been going over a lot of people's heads. Now, it doesn't help that some of their music isn't up, and I think it's because of licensing and trademark stuff with like international bands, but they definitely have a lot more on Spotify now than they did 2 years ago, so people should definitely start listening to them a lot more because they're incredible. Now, Ska Band literally translates to girl ska band, which makes a lot of sense because they're a ska band literally full of women. Which makes a lot of sense because they're a ska band made up completely of women. And incredible women who write incredible music at that. My favorite part of Ska Band is that they have so much fun with everything that they do and you can just tell. Their music is just so deeply rooted into the fundamental sound of ska and I love it so much. There's so much influence from the two-tone and they've actually said in interviews that they really look up to the Specials as one of their main influences. Which comparing the 2 bands, like the Ska Band and the Specials, I kind of really don't hear it. But at the same time, it makes so much more sense because they're not trying to copy the Specials. They're just taking that two-tone sound that the Specials inspired them to make music, but they're creating their own, which is incredible. And honestly, Ska Band has been doing a lot to kind of push the envelope as far as what defines ska. Like their song Fiebre that has this kind of like Latin ska sound, but still definitely sounds like Japanese ska. And even though this song has a lot of influences from Latin music, it still kind of gets the job done with its fundamental purpose, and that's to make you dance, which is fitting for a band that takes so much influence, especially from like the two-tone era of ska. And it takes a pretty impressive and incredible level of musicianship to be able to pull this type of stuff off, and they pull it off in a lot of other songs. But yeah, this is a band that I've been longing to see in the United States or just anywhere in general, and hopefully they gain much more of a presence out here so they can be able to, come overseas and tour out here.
Yo, brothers and sisters, it's time to become one and done. If you want to be free, now's your chance. Let's go!
Carry on, you may be right and may be wrong. We gon' smile either way. Carry on, every day.
Ooh. Or a Ska Band We Are the Union tour, now that would be... Speaking of We Are the Union, number 10 on this list, the very band that I play trombone in, We Are the Union. Formed out of Ann Arbor, Michigan in 2005, We Are the Union has been going on for quite a long time. I was literally in 5th grade when this band formed, so 1, I'm baby, and 2, We Are the Union has been going for a long time, and they've honestly done so much. Before I joined the band in 2015, the band has done so much, playing shows with bands like Less Than Jake, Real Big Fish, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. They've played Warped Tour, they've gone on tours playing over 200 shows a year for years. And then like most ska bands that formed in the late 2000s and early 2010s, the steam kind of just ran out because no one was supporting them in the ska scene, and then they just kind of broke up. But then they got back together and I ended up filling in on trombone with them, and then Brent filled in on drums, and the chemistry was so good and we just kept playing shows till we kept getting offers, and now we're back as a full-fledged band. That's the quickest rundown I can honestly give on the We Are the Union history. There's a lot more to it, but that's pretty much what you need to know. But in 2018, we put out a record called Self-Care, and like, I don't even want to flex, but at the same time, it's just straight up such an incredible record. Definitely one of the best ska records to come out in the last decade.
Proud of recycled bones and skin. What do you do now with your 7 skeletons? Our darkest clouds, part overhead. What do you do now with your 7 skeletons? With your 7 skeletons.
And I'm just being honest, we worked really hard on it. Reed is an incredible songwriter. Everyone in that band is incredibly good at playing their instruments and creating music, and I'm so fortunate to be part of such an incredible band. If y'all didn't know, We Are the Union was actually my favorite band all the way in high school and throughout college. You should be playing, and honestly, if you ever play in a band, your favorite band should be your band. That's kind of how I see it. And I'm really proud of what we do in We Are the Union, so I'm going to say that y'all should listen to We Are the Union, because we are doing so many good things right now.
Wash ashore tonight, we're on top with the kings of chords. The landlord said, you gotta keep it down. Too bad, my friends, tough luck, we don't know how. I thought we were invincible. I thought we could take on the world. Don't do me wrong, just sing along. Na 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 na, before the moment's gone.
2 songs of recommendation for We Are the Union will be A Better Home and Surfing on the Waves of Depression. And that is it for the list of 10 ska bands I believe that you should be listening to right now in the year of 2020. And if there are any bands that I left off of this list, let me know in the comments below. And again, I'm going to try to list as much information about these bands as I can in the description. Please go ahead and give them all a follow and go ahead and support them. There's a lot of talk about wanting new ska and wanting a 4th wave and this and that on the internet, but it all comes down to who's listening to us and who's supporting us and who's writing out to our shows. Coming from someone who's very deeply involved with all of these bands and in the ska scene, that is what we need, and that's what any musician needs to be successful. In 2020, we are leaving out bands that are newer in the discussion of older bands. In 2020, we are hyping up the bands that are new that we have now. I guess that's the better way to put it. Like, subscribe, follow, all that biz, and I'll see y'all if I ever decide to do a vlog again.